Hello and welcome to Let's Play Madden 98. It is week 14. Dallas Cowboys are taking on the Houston Oilers. Before we get that game started, let's check in on the NFL standings to see where we are in the playoff race. Now the Colts are clear favorite in the AFC East. Steelers, a foe I defeated in week 1, are taking control of the AFC Central. Chiefs and Raiders. Yeah, the Raiders were actually really good back then. The Chiefs had Priest home. Well, actually, the Chiefs weren't very good back then. I think Marty Schottenheimer had gotten fired the year before. And I have no idea why Madden98 would think the Chiefs are good. It would be about 4 years before Priest Holmes got there. They had a good defensive squad throughout the 80s and 90s, but I think in the late 90s they were actually particularly bad. Alright, here we go. Well, in the NFC East, the Cowboys and Eagles, wow, in the NFC overall, the Cowboys and Eagles are tied for the first spot for home field advantage. It's going to come down to something like points against and points for as to who's going to win home field advantage. And who is going to win the NFC East is going to get, at this rate, the first seed in the playoffs. Eagles and Cowboys are 2 games ahead of everyone else, and it's hard to believe, but the 2 divisional foes seem like clear favorites to meet in the playoffs. They've both been able to defeat the 49ers. Cowboys beat the Packers, but the Packers actually are 8-4, but I think that's a fluky 8-4. I'm sure in the playoffs they'll reassert their dominance because they won the Super Bowl last year and Madden loves a winner. Overall, NFL standings are irrelevant. I don't know why they even have this. So here we have our playoff picture. That's not the playoffs. Let's look at the divisions. Falcons and 49ers are tied. That's actually true. The Falcons were pretty good towards the 2000s. They had Dan Reeves as their head coach, and they had one terrific season from their running back. His name escapes me. They had one terrific season from their quarterback. His name escapes me. These guys, it's like something Anderson was the running back. Jamal Anderson. Especially the quarterback. He had been talented, but he had injuries throughout his whole career. And then 1 year he was actually not injured and he put it all together, and the Falcons made the Super Bowl. That's not this year though, that's actually 2 years down the road. So this year, the truth is Denver wins the Super Bowl. Let's see where Denver is. The Broncos are listed at 4-8. The truth is the Broncos won the Super Bowl. That's pretty silly. They have John Elway. I guess Madden98 had no idea that Terrell Davis, I think he had 2,000 yards. I mean, this was an all-time NFL team, the 98 Broncos. But Madden98 is based only on 1997 data. 1997 playoffs, the Broncos lost to the Jaguars. I thought I recall the Jaguars were doing okay. I have no idea what division the Jags are in. 4-8, they're not very good either. This is all bungled, to be honest. The Broncos won the Super Bowl, but here they are 4-8. Chiefs did nothing. Raiders were good in the year 2000, but they weren't good in 1998. Alright, let's get to my game. It is time for the Dallas Cowboys to take on the Houston Oilers. They're not even a rival. But I have to win this game because my Cowboy fans will have to endure the taunts of Oiler fans. if the Cowboys lose. And the truth is, the Cowboys don't often lose to the Oilers, or to the Houston teams, but when the Cowboys lose, it's pretty memorable. Oilers have a terrific offensive line. They probably have Bruce Matthews at left tackle or center. No, actually, they have him at left tackle or left guard. He moved all around. But they actually have former Dallas Cowboy Mark Stepnoski at center. They're not rated very well, but they went 13-3 in 1992. I guess by 1998, they didn't have any of that roster left. I'm electing to receive so I can go up by a touchdown. My intention being to put pressure on Houston to score. Houston runs a 3-4. They might still actually have Wade Phillips or even Bum Phillips somehow affiliated with the team. But look at a gap. Madden football, the 3-4 is just very flawed. You cannot run it in Madden football and expect to win. Here they are in a... I'm not sure what they're in. I'm trying to determine if they're in a 4-3 or a nickel defense, but I can't tell whether this character right here is a safety or the outside linebacker. That makes a difference in coverage, but it doesn't make a difference because my play call is running to the gap between these two linebackers. I'm going to call a very conservative game because I think I'm pretty talented compared to Houston, and the easiest way for me to lose this game is by calling plays that are unconventional or driven by emotions. I'm glad I got rid of the ball before I took the sack. I made a bad play call. I called a field goal. I need to call a punt so I can move the ball. At the end of 4 downs, it's time to change possession. Well, I'll assume if you're playing Madden98 or if you're watching this, you maybe know something about how football works. So I won't explain why I punted. Alright, all season I've been plagued by giving up early touchdowns. I want to stop that, especially in time for the playoffs. So it's time for me to force a field goal. As you can see with number 92, I've learned that in Madden98. I can line my defensive linemen up closer or even on the line of scrimmage and get sometimes an advantage in pass rush. Right now, I'm getting completely toasted by Houston. I'm trying to stop them. I don't want to give up an early touchdown. Not for the 9th time this season, I believe. Eddie George. Many players on this Houston Oiler team, or at least some of the marquee players on this Houston Oiler team, were marquee players in Super Bowl in 1999 against the St. Louis Rams, but they lost. They were a good team, but that was their greatest hurrah. in this season, the Oiler Memphis team was very famously 8-8. They had gone 8-8 3 consecutive seasons and not fired their coach Jeff Fisher. Much like Dallas Cowboys, it seemed like, I don't know why Jeff Fisher had so much credibility that he survived 8-8, but you would say that the Oilers were in this ambiguous situation where they were playing in a college stadium and all sorts of crazy stuff was going on. And that was an excuse to keep Jeff Fisher after he had 3 seasons of terrible 8-8 mediocrity. And then, so now you're saying Jason Garrett has gone 3 straight seasons of 8-8. If we keep him, it's for reasons just like, with Jeff Fisher, where Jeff Fisher has validated that he's a good coach and all that. In the end, Jeff Fisher lost the Super Bowl. I think he has earned the opportunity to be the head coach in St. Louis, but he's not like a Hall of Fame head coach. Tennessee wasn't wrong to keep him, and they weren't wrong to not keep him. They could have gone either way. It was a total push. So it doesn't really help what Jason Garrett's going through with Dallas. Jeff Fisher, in the end, didn't win big enough in Tennessee. Well, that was a fortunate offsides. My long-winded way of managing the play clock and talking through the whole game has actually helped me be better at controlling the clock. See, I've always in Madden ran the play clock very, very long so that I consume game time and don't give my opponent many offensive possessions. But doing Let's Plays actually helps me play Madden because I'm even better at eating game clock. Sometimes I'm impatient between plays. Just want to get them called. And sometimes I hike the ball faster than I need to, like then. But in that case, you can see how the play clock and the time on the clock are tied. So that's a lose situation for the offense, because the play clock and the clock on the field, the play clock is ahead of it. Trust me, it's happened where I let the play clock expire and then I get a penalty even though they're both at 0. So it's 1998, and if you're only just joining me, you'll notice that I'm running with Sherman Williams and Moose Johnson. Emmitt Smith's been injured. I'm trying to get my team the first seed in the NFC playoffs while my star tailback is recovering from injury. And Sherman Williams has not really been a great replacement, but through him and Moose Johnson, I've been able to get yards when I need it. Someone's injured. Moose Johnson was actually a second-round pick coming into the NFL. He was drafted as a running back. He was pretty good, but when Norv Turner got here, he was like, no, you got to abandon that. You're the running back. Norv Turner went to the Washington Redskins, and he forced Stephen Davis to be a fullback for a long time there. Same reasons. Powerful dudes that could really drive with their legs, catch the ball, be multi-dimensional threats. Problem with in the Redskins, Stephen Davis ended up being a pretty good running back, but they never had a great fullback to go with their great running back. While in Dallas, we had Daryl Johnson to go with our Emmitt Smith. And so I've relied on Daryl Johnson to be the running back with Emmitt Smith being out of the game. So this blitzer, I'm going to line up a wide receiver on him, about throwing it to Michael Irvin. Oops, I am not. I'm throwing it to B. The game. What happened? Personal foul on the defense. That play took a while to develop, but B became open late. That's Anthony Miller, my second wide receiver. He's a rookie. He's replacing Alvin Harper. It was either 1996 or 1997 that Alvin Harper was a free agent, and the Washington Redskins gave him a huge contract to be their #1 wide receiver. He largely let them down. I think in the end it was shown that Michael Irvin opened up opportunities for Alvin Harper, but Alvin Harper couldn't really open up as many opportunities for other players. Yeah, Michael Irvin was a multi-dimensional offensive threat who created mismatches on the football field, but Alvin Harper had fewer mismatches that he created. I'm disappointed that wasn't a touchdown. I'm going to give Moose Johnson the ball one more time. See if he can get a touchdown. I'm being cavalier, aren't I, about my scoring. I need to make sure I keep score with the Oilers, but it's always been important to me to run the ball and to eat the clock constantly. I wanted to make sure Moose had a touchdown this year. He's been really valuable down the stretch. I've needed him. I've needed Sherman Williams. I wish I had drafted a better running back, but I can only blame Jerry Jones because he's already on the roster when you start the game. If I know how Madden thinks, the computer's going to throw the ball and throw it and throw it. And so there's a chance I could get it back and then also get another quick score. So I've learned to be able to tell if my men are offsides or not. That was terrible. Absolutely terrible pass coverage. It was a zone. And I guess they just were able to eat my zone alive. That was something I would have done. The Oilers came out, lined up in 5 wide receivers, and threw the ball down the field on first down. And that's something the Dallas Cowboys have done this year. So I will applaud them on their play call that time. I'm calling 50-man. It's going to send 5 people blitzing. The guy on the right probably has the best turn of direction. The offensive line of the Oilers is really good, so I think outside blitzers from secondary members with lots of foot speed are my best opportunity to sack the quarterback. I almost did it. My secondary is actually my leading sack unit, I think. I haven't checked the stats in a while, but Darren Woodson alone counts for most of my sacks. It's been difficult, especially with guys like Shante Carver, for me to get sacks from my defensive ends. Tony Tolbert's a great player, but he's definitely the number 2 defensive end. Shante Carver is inadequate as the number 1. There's a hold penalty. When I edge my players forward, I have found that I can draw holding penalties. It's nice. Force those guys into holds. Did I turn on 4th down? Wow, that was a terrible play by the coach. I don't know why I would have chosen to let them throw the ball one more time. Alright, the coach made a bungling error, and now I want to help run the clock out and eat time by tackling players on the field of play. That was embarrassing. That's one of the deepest touchdowns I've given up all year. I don't normally give up deep touchdown passes. I do give up deep passes. Rarely are they in the end zone. I don't know what formula it is that Houston had to burn my safeties a little bit more than normal. Alright, I've talked a lot of smack. It's time for me to at least put some points on the board. Now, with 1 minute left in Madden football, you can still run the ball. But I have Sherman Williams, and he's not very good. So right now I see that there's a lot of defensive backs on the left side of the field and not very many on the right side of the field. I didn't see the play clock. I'm going to take the fall for that again. That's on the coaches. And I really think that they're going to be, my fans are going to be calling the talk shows, and they're going to be like on the ticket, getting me fired. They're doubling my outside wide receiver on the right. Wow, I thought that was intercepted. One reason I throw the ball with a lot of force is so that it's harder for defenders who aren't very good catching the ball anyway. It's harder for them to catch it, because it smacks their hands so hard. So if defenders were good at catching the ball, the theory is that they would play offense. Wow, that was a terrible play. It might be the case that this head coach isn't up to play calling and narrating. It's definitely not me calling timeouts. I want to call a strong safety blitz. This is the strong safety blitz. One of my best blitzers. They're going to run to the left, though, I think. No, they ran to the right. I think they're going to run to the right. They're in a fairly flexible offensive formation. I'm cheating to the right. Hopefully they're trying to trick me. They are. They tried to trick me by running to the right, and I had already called a defense attacking to the right. Alright, they're kicking a field goal. I can recover from that. Tonight was the night of the Super Bowl. The Seattle Seahawks totally mauled the Denver Broncos. It goes to show how great a great defense can be. It's hard to believe in defensive-based teams until you actually see it on the field. And then it's like, wow, it's great to see great defense once again. I love how uniform Seahawks were in their excellence. They were great on offense, they were great on defense, and they were great on special teams. Very admirable. And that's all I have to say about that. this game, I am totally not in a position to really accomplish anything without a few miraculous passes. I'm going to try to catch the ball and get out of bounds. The Oilers are in a poor. They're in a dubious defense. Alright, I have to do something with this play. On the 25, has just enough time for Michael Irvin to get open, I think. Alright, so they're in a man defense. I've lined up my wide receivers on the right to try to get their defense more to the right. Michael Irvin, it's on you. 0 seconds left. I go to my Hall of Fame wide receiver. He delivers a Hall of Fame worthy play. Well, not a first half to be proud of. It seems like lately the Dallas Cowboys go into halftime down pretty often. I have to figure out why my team can't stop people on the first possession. I have not, in memory, forced a punt on the first possession. I felt good about my first drive, and I felt good about my 2-minute scoring drive. You know, in Madden, you really have 2-minute plays. There are 2-minute drives where you pass a lot, and then you have your other drives where you run out the clock a lot. A lot of scoring happens at the end of the halves, into the first half, into the second half. That's just the way it is. You start being aggressive. You start thinking the opponent won't be able to respond, even if they have advantageous field position, because there's not enough time left. You start pushing the ball. So you have one strategy. I mean, you have a set of plays you call in the 2-minute drill, and you have a set of plays you call when it's not 2 minutes. Now it's flexible. Is it really 2 minutes? Whatever. Just sometime when you're starting to soar really fast, that's a 2-minute drill play. I feel like the Cowboys' biggest problems heading into the playoffs, the Cowboys have got to stop people on their first possession. It seems like every game Dallas is down by a score to start the game. Other big things, I feel like Dallas is good running the ball with Sherman Williams, even though, I mean, this is the Houston Oilers, Coach Sherman Williams. This is the kind of game where Sherman Williams actually has a solid performance because the Oilers are so bad. This is the 49ers. He'd have like 2 yards like he had last time against the 49ers. I have to figure out to stop the deep passes that beat my safeties last time. That's really the biggest threat. That outside wide receiver started just getting behind my guys. He got a touchdown, and it seemed like the touchdown he scored, he could have gotten it from anywhere on the field because he beat my secondary and got behind everyone. Boy, Eddie George was legit, but not when he played in Dallas. He actually ended his career in Dallas, but he was well past his prime then. He was really terrible. Really a bad son, he met Jerry Jones. Every time I see W. Davis, I think it's Wendy Davis. She's going to be running for governor of Texas as a Democrat. Wendy Davis caught that pass for the Memphis Oilers. They're listed as Memphis in Madden98. It was very ambiguous where they were at that time. Wow, I got lucky on that. I have to take better control of my defenders, though. If I get involved in some of these plays, I can better disrupt them than the computer can. So Tony Tolbert forced the quarterback to throw a lot faster than he was wanting to. Alright, this is sort of a zone, but I can't run a deep zone. I have to run short zones. Alright. This is Shante Carver. He was very terrible in his career in Dallas. But he's my left defensive end, and I need him to play very big this game. It's 4th down, they're going for a field goal, but I'm still lined up in a defense. I don't trust it. Going up by 6 points against me is nothing. But had they gone up by 10 points, I would be worried. I'm not sure why they keep kicking me to the right sideline. When Herschel Walker had it, he had a huge return that if I had a second opportunity at, I could even do better. Do you see how the defense audible can change their formation? I like to, especially when I have a running play, I like to snap the ball while their defense is transitioning between formations. Sometimes you'll catch the defense really out of position, and then you'll get a big play out of it. This is a fullback dive to the left. I really like this gap that exists between the weak side linebacker and the middle linebacker. This area right here, and there's no safeties going this way. The safeties are over here with my wide receivers and with my tailback. Whereas I guess Moose isn't fast enough to really get into the deep area over there, but I guess the question is this 3rd down taking me into 4th down territory? And I think it is. I'm in 4 down territory. They have their safety and they're pretty tight on the right sideline. This is not the best play call. Audibling into a pass. Broncos sort of a strong side. Now it's a strong side because of where the linebacker or where the tight ends are. I'm going to shift my defensive end and jam these tight ends. They ran the other way. That was another unsuccessful screen in Madden. Have I mentioned that I never run screens? I never run them in video game football because video game football has too much of a higher percentage of messed up plays. That C. Sanders guy, I'm not even sure who that is, but he has tortured me this game. So I'm going to double the outside wide receivers on this play. Not good. field goal range. Wow, that was an epic 5-yard gain. Alright, I'm really selling out on a blitz. Getting to the backfield, mess stuff up, running a 3 deep zone. Oh, and the ball's in the air, catch it. I'm going to blitz Darren Woodson. He's been such a dangerous player for me this year. He really has great change of direction. You can see him there. I wonder what the flag is. I'm going to decline it. I am good with that. Brock Marion. I loved him when I was a kid. He was one of my favorite Dallas Cowboys, Brock Marion. He's playing safety opposite Darren Woodson. He was fast. He was real fast for a safety. Darren Woodson, ultimately a great player, worthy almost of the Hall of Fame. Brock Marion, though, had great speed, and he was the kick returner often. I mean, that's how fast he was. Safety that was also the kickoff returner. Very exciting. He became part of the great ensemble of players that have just migrated to Miami over the year from Dallas. So many Dallas Cowboys have played in Miami ever since Don Shula retired. So I'm running to the side where my wide receiver vacated. Makes it easier having fewer defenders. Oh no. I accidentally took control of Troy Aikman before he got the ball out. That was my fault. I hope that I could get like 5 or 6 yards out of that. Make it like a 3rd and 6. I am playing right into Houston's hands right now. Not good. So I'm going to be looking towards B, who's running a short hook, and possibly A, who's running a crossing route across B's route later in the play. Throw it to C. I did not expect to throw it to C when I started the play, but I saw the way it developed in coverage, and he just totally shook his guy. Now I put a lot of pressure on my defense because a field goal will give Houston, or I want to call it, it's the Houston Oilers. A field goal will give the Houston Oilers the lead, and it's not very hard to give up the yardage for a field goal in Madden 98. My defense gives up deep passes all the time. So this game is far from over. It'd be nice to get my second 1-point victory of the year, though. Dion and Kevin Smith are going to be dropping back doing zones while I blitz on the inside. So this should be kind of obvious now to the Oilers defense, or the Oilers offense, what I was doing there after they started putting their man in motion. 3-man defensive line, but I am sending 5 players. cover 3. There's still enough time on the clock for them to throw it short. So Dion and Kevin Smith will be in short zones, which actually ended up being a brilliant play call. That man probably dropped the ball largely just due to all the smorgasbord of players I had in his area. Amazingly, it is 3rd and 10, and they are lining up with 2 tight ends and a running back. They should have lined up with far more wide receivers. If I can stop them before the 2-minute warning, I did it. And I think he went out of bounds. They might punt. They might punt if it's not the 2-minute warning. They're going to call their timeouts and try to stop me on offense. And I'm going to run the ball. Because that's what I do. Halfback wham. This is the play I call the most when I'm running out the clock. It's very straightforward. My offensive line blocks straight ahead, and my running back runs directly behind them. Alright, 2-minute warning. I didn't have to call a timeout. It's kind of a drag. Again, I'm investing heavily in Moose Johnson as a player. They're doubling my wide receivers and are running down. Oh. Did I not? Is there not a play clock? Why do I keep falling for this? I'm gonna run the ball anyway. Screw you, game. I must be ignoring the play clock, or something about a play clock isn't showing up after the 2-minute warning. That happened twice this game. Maybe I'm just talking too much. Alright, I think I can complete a pass. I'm going to do my money play, which is all streaks down the field. They're in a terrible defense for it. And Michael Irvin's in solo coverage. They're going to blitz. Oh ho ho ho. Michael Irvin, I think I hit you in the chest. I wish I could run a play that lasted 1 minute and 44 seconds. Alright, Cowboys defense. Your secondary is supposed to be the tops in the league. Oh man, I didn't give them too much that they would have to work with. They have a lot. They only need a field goal to win the game. So I might need enough time on the clock to score again. Whitney Davis. They're not lining up with wide receivers. And this is like a critical time to line up with your wide receivers. Alright, let the clock run. Oh no. A real NFL team at this point would run the ball, and they wouldn't pass the ball because they would make me burn a timeout. But this system isn't really planning very well. So they stop the clock. I don't need to use a timeout. I expect something bizarre. That's why I'm in a cover 2. Normally I don't like to run my cornerbacks in short zones because they're so fast. I think they should run deep zones. But I expect something bizarre. Alright, they called another timeout, thankfully. I'm actually grateful they're calling timeouts. I'm calling a pretty aggressive blitz. They could really burn me. But maybe I could get an interception with the zone coverage I'm running behind it. That was exactly what I was talking about. Deion Sanders. I think this might be the second game Deion Sanders has won for the Dallas Cowboys. They don't have any timeouts, so I can kneel the ball. So that was an instance where I saw the ball was going. There's a lot of defensive backs, so I quickly grabbed control of the player and had him do something. Not even too sure what I did. But he jumped and he grabbed the ball and he got the interception. And so that was me taking a more proactive control of my defensive players and getting the positive outcome that I needed. So that actually works in Madden 98. Taking control of your players results in really positive outcomes. So I guess this sort of stream of consciousness discussion of Madden football as I play it isn't disrupting my games too much. I ended up winning another 1-point game. It was very dramatic. But all these Madden games have been very dramatic. I think most of my season has come down to final. Almost always I'm trying to prevent an onside kick. This is actually nice. I mean, I have the ball, I'm taking knees. It usually works out like this because after I collect the onside kick, I usually take a knee. But let's see how committed to the run I was. I had 63 rushing yards. That doesn't seem like I had almost no offense, really. It's amazing how little offense, 216 yards through 291, that I had. They had 243 passing yards. It's amazing that I had the ball for 12 minutes and 31 seconds. Five of 10, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Steve McNair, 11 of 24. Not very good. 238, 1 and 2 interceptions. Let's see where Emmett was. Emmett wasn't running this game because he's still injured. Sherman Williams, though, had 3.5 yard carry. That's better than normal. Moose Johnson, I ran very constantly. And so I had 17 attempts by my running backs. It's a lot more than normal. And between the two, I got 55 yards. It's nice to get 17 attempts. I actually had 7 fullback dives, which is pretty silly when you say, like, wow, 7 fullback dives. Why are you calling it so much? Well, I'm calling it so much because Emmitt Smith's injured, and Moose Johnson may actually be the best running back I have outside of Emmitt Smith. Alright, that was an exciting Week 14. Stay tuned for Week 15 and the Cowboys take on the Panthers. Panthers were actually a really good team in 1998. Seems hard to believe. They had just been in their second year as an expansion franchise, but they made the NFC title game. But as the video game as it plays out, it says they're not good. But hopefully the Cowboys will get a Week 15 win. Let's see if we kept pace with the Eagles. What happened to the Eagles? The Eagles lost to the Bengals. So the Cowboys have sole possession of NFC East and the sole possession of first place in the NFC and home field throughout the playoffs. But they still have to win out. It is great to see the Eagles lose, and especially to a team as historically bad as the '98 Bengals. I wonder if they had Boomer Esiason still playing in that game. Anyway, I will talk to you in Week 15 again when the Cowboys take on the Panthers.